Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the One Word series where we discuss the impact of a single word on the Quran. So today's verse, inshallah, is from Surah Mujadala, verse number 19, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, إِسْتَحْوَذَ عَلَيْهِمُ الشَّيْطَانُ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ ذِكْرَ اللَّهِ. In this verse, Allah talks about shaitan, and He says that the people that shaitan overwhelms, he makes them forget the remembrance of Allah. He makes them forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how does this happen actually? The actual basic translation of the verse is not enough, because this word, istahwada, actually has a much deeper meaning. Istahwada tells us that shaitan doesn't overwhelm someone overnight. It's not like someone is a believer at night and then the next morning he's a disbeliever. But rather, istahwada tells us that shaitan takes his time. Because shaitan is an expert. He's been doing this for thousands of years. And so shaitan, he actually takes his time, and it's almost, I guess the best example I can give you is that of a snowball effect. Where a person, he has a snowball, and he rolls the snowball down the hill until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it gets so big eventually that any obstacles that are in its path, it overwhelms them. And so shaitan, that's how he works. He says, okay, this is a little bit easier, this is a little bit better, why don't you try this, why don't you try this? And eventually we start to lose our way, and eventually he overwhelms us. The Prophet ﷺ, he tells us that every time we commit a sin, a darkness is placed on our heart. And as we continue to sin, then this darkness increases until our entire heart is engulfed by this darkness. And so that's exactly the work of shaitan, that he works slowly, but he gets there eventually if you let him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us in this verse that we have to be careful of the plan of shaitan, and we have to be careful of what he does. If we can understand what he does, then we can understand what we need to do better. And so I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helps us and He protects us from shaitan. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us a deeper understanding and appreciation for every single word in the Quran. Jazakumullahu khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.